Hello, friends, and welcome into Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. I am Chris Welsh. That is the KC Bubba. KC Bubba in the house, where we got a lot for you on trade deadline day. Hopefully, we're going to get some movers and shakers, maybe while we're doing the show, but we've got some trades to break down. We have one of the worst trades we have seen in years actually go down yesterday, and a whole lot more. KC Bubba representing those Giants as you guys traded off Jorge Soler for a bag of nothing, actually.
Whole lot of nothing, my friend. Thanks for having me. It's Tuesday. We're back. We're doing it. And yeah, that trade just happened to drop on Monday night just in time for me to show up and be so happy about it.
And totally not be upset or angry about it.
Nope,
But
not angry at all.
Let's start on the positive. Let's be super happy because there is something to be happy about. Ladies and gentlemen, Corbin Carroll is back. Except he's hitting 215. Corbin Carroll last night, yes, we'll talk about trades, with a walk-off homer for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They came back, the answer backs, as they're known out here. Corbin Carroll comes up, pinch hits, and smashes a homer to right field. Here's also why he's not back. He's hitting 215 still in the month of July. He has consistently been hitting that. But he now in July has 6 home runs. That is triple what he had all the other months combined. 6 home runs. Bubba even said something interesting off air where he goes, well, if he's hitting those homers and not a good average, he's not stealing bases. Here's a fun fact. He has the most stolen bases in any given month right now. So that is currently happening. Last night, Bubba, Corbin Carroll took one off the bat. 109. That was the exit velocity, an 18-degree launch angle, 109.5. He put that in the stands. My friend, that feels good. So I ask you, is Corbin Carroll back, even though he's hitting 215? But all the other stuff is starting to look pretty.
He's on his way back. He's showing signs of being back, but the consistency's not there. We talked about it off air. If he's even hitting 250, we're talking maybe 7 home runs and double-digit steals. Now he's back. Like that, you want the steals with Carroll. The power's extra, but the average comes with the steals, runs scored, so on and so forth. So when he's back, he'll be back at the top of the order for the D-backs, and he'll be producing. So he's working his way back.
Yeah, and you know, hey, listen, who was it that just did that? I get it. Someone said, Lee said, only Welsh would start off Carroll on a huge home run on the home run on deadline day. Yes, but there's no current trade and there's no incentive. But I want to point out, this is like a trade deadline. If you were to get Corbin Carroll back, I will tell you, the ball has been up in the zone and Corbin Carroll has finally been making contact. Everybody has been attacking Corbin Carroll high this entire season, and now he is making hard, consistent contact. He even said on the homer last night in the post game, he said that was probably the best swing I've had all season. So confidence is high. I repeat, confidence is high. Corbin Carroll, 109 off the bat. He might just be back. It is trade deadline day, as mentioned. We had a couple trades that happened between the show yesterday and what's going down today. There are lots of rumors, so let's talk about a few of them. I don't want to be overzealous about my take on some of this stuff, but I'm not trying to hyperbolize this. But the Yusei Kikuchi trade makes 0 sense, that much sense, and is one of the worst trades on paper that I've seen in a long time. The Houston Astros traded for Yusei Kikuchi, who's a rental. It's about 2 months. They traded Jake Bloss, who was pulled from his start yesterday and didn't go. Will Wagner, who I've seen in the AFL, Billy Wagner's kid. I don't know if he's anything special, not to be mean to him or anything like that, but there's decent power, not great contact. And Joey Luperfido thrown into that trade. Huh? It doesn't make any sense. Astros fans are pissed. Everybody else, the initial reactions of like the Diamondback, AJ Puck, everyone was like, what's going on here? For Joey Luperfido to be involved with 2 other prospects for a rental player, it makes no sense, Bubba.
Yeah, it's a huge deal for the Toronto Blue Jays. The neighbors to the north, like getting a top 100 prospect pitcher in Bloss. You get Loperfido, as you mentioned, who's just sure, he's struggled in his first cup of coffee, but the dude's good, like really good. You obviously know that as a prospect guy. The only thing I could say, and I hate rental plays, this is like what I despise. I was talking with someone about Zach Wheeler the other day, who went in the trade for Carlos Beltran as a rental. It still haunts me to this day. I hate rentals. This is what this is. But what I will give the Houston Astros is they know their window with Altuve and Bregman and all these guys is short. They desperately need starting pitching. Desperately need starting pitching. Not saying Kikuchi's the answer, but it is a guy every fifth day who actually peripheral still look pretty good. They need him out there, and they can still win the division. So I get it, and we've seen it all trade deadlines. Some of these big guys, relievers, starting pitchers, they're coming at a premium right now. Like these guys, you're having to spend to get, and that's kind of rare compared to recent years. So I agree. The Jays, kudos, outstanding stuff as you're trying to put things back together there in Toronto. The Astros had to do it, though, is the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
makes you wonder what some of these guys that are hopefully getting traded today are going to go for if that's what Kikuchi got.
I should say from a context perspective, the price of pitching, price of relief pitching specifically, but the price of pitching is high. It's always high. But in the same vein of like Jason here in the chat is clearly an Astros fan defending them. You kind of defended them. But in the same vein of like Frankie Montas costing Joey Wiemer, like maybe you could view that as a there are pitchers out there that could have been got at a much lower cost. I can appreciate any team going for it, and the market is the market. You know, every single pitcher, as they get traded, the cost is going up because there are less arms that are available, and they're looking at their needs. I'm definitely not going to give them credit, though, for getting rid of what probably should have been a form of a building block for that team into the future. Lou Perfetto had cooled off. He's down to 276 in the minors. They weren't playing him a whole bunch, but really good counting stats. He did hit 236 when he got a little bit of the playing time. It doesn't make sense for a rental. There's no other way around it. Like, there's almost anything else they should have done. Bloss and Wagner probably perceivably should have got that done unless they played chicken and they're like, hey, we got these other great offers. Kikuchi's fine. He does have a lower expected ERA than his actual. It's 4. Yep. So they probably feel there's something to work with there. His K percentage is the highest of his career. He's loaded his walks a little bit. Like, it's decent. But it's not decent for Yusei Kikuchi, who is the ultimate rental. Like he's okay and he's a rental. Like those two things should not meet. It should be like either good in a rental or, 3 years and they're okay. You shouldn't have both of those things click, especially when you give up, top prospect in your organization and 2 other pieces. But, the Astros fans will have to deal with that. It won't matter if they win. It doesn't matter if they win. And there is a pressure to do it. I agree. Pitching is not cheap. Right now, maybe now that I'm thinking about it, if we looked at all the trades, there might have been another relief pitcher trade or 2 that was like, holy crap. But this one just looks bad from the rental market standpoint. But
because you're seeing the top prospect name with it, that's the part that's stunning. It's more
sure.
They got quality and quantity with it. It's just weird. But hey, Pedro Leon's going to get the call. Like that's a nice plan B for Houston, I'd say, in this situation. The prospects better than I, so that seems like a fun one as well.
Yeah, I mean, Pedro Leon is going to be decently solid. He's got swing and miss issues, but he's a power speed combo. To be honest with you, like I think the bat is going to be more consistent with Lou Perfetto long term, but it might be similar gameplay you're getting out of this year. It's just a weird trade. Lou Perfetto being involved is a weird trade, and it either tells you like, A, there's a rift in the scouting department, or B, this is something you maybe should look at Lou Perfetto and be like, oh, if the Astros really don't believe in him and they would trade him for a rental player, maybe that's a little bit more telling about his overall production. Hindsight, 2-3 years from now, none of those guys may be anything. Joey Lou Perfetto might be bagging groceries at Aldi, so it might not matter. But on paper, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, but that is also what the market is pressing. And, I know for Astros fans, at least they're in it. Probably a solid moment for Lou Perfetto if he's going to get playing time. Like he can finally play. So this is good for fantasy from him. And Kikuchi is in a better spot. So I think his fantasy upside is upticking a little bit while the expected numbers are going as well. As we mentioned, the Braves acquired Jorge Soler and Luke Jackson. They didn't give up much. They gave up Saban Sabalos and Tyler Madzik. And I know you were pretty pissed about that. Probably a great alternative for them. They're obviously not going to get Luis Robert. Shows they're still going for it. And they might go and get more pieces in there. So any other last thoughts you want to add with Soler?
Nope, it was a money drop. They want Marco Luciano to DH, weirdly enough, so that's about all there is in that one.
Yeah, by the way, Fabi said, you bag your own groceries at Aldi. Exactly. That's even more the joke. That's the joke inside the joke. So good job. Guardians acquired Lane Thomas from the Nationals, Alex Clemmie, Jose Tena, Rafael Ramirez Jr. I've actually seen a ton of Rafael Ramirez Jr. I like him going down the line a little bit. He's really far down. Guardians fans are pissed about this one. Alex Clemmie is someone they were holding a lot of hopes to. I don't know if they loved the prospects of Lane Thomas. I love it. I love Lane Thomas from a fantasy perspective going to Cleveland. As I have mentioned, the right side of the field has been the number one ballpark factor for left-handed hitters. So we've just seen an uptick in offense in that ballpark in general. The team itself is an offensive whirlwind up. So I think this is great for Lane Thomas's fantasy perspective for redraft this season. And he's kind of been a buy for a decent amount of the year, Bubba.
Yep, I love Lane Thomas. He's hitting second on Tuesday's lineup. Hopefully he's not a platoon. Like there's actually rumors of that on Monday, which would be wild to me. But he should play every day, and I love it. Now he's going to a contender and hitting in front of guys like J-Ram and company should pay off in a big way.
You know, it's kind of, I hate to do it because I'm going to jinx it or whatever, but it's semi-safe to say that like a majority of the trades that we've seen from offense, from bats, have been pluses. The only one, like, I think we could argue Isak Paredes is probably not an offensive plus. Like maybe the pieces around are more interesting, but the left field, 315 in Tampa Bay, 355 in Chicago. Yeah. So for a guy that will only pull and heavy pull hitter, gets the ball in the air, like that's a little bit more damning. But I don't know. A lot of the other offensive stuff, like Jazz is thriving in New York and was a plus. I think Soler, this is a plus. Going into Atlanta, you throw in Joey Luperfido. I mean, these offensive pieces that are moving, 8 out of 10, let's call it, maybe 75% so far have been an offensive uptick.
Yeah, most of the moves so far, it is weird, have really not hurt fantasy value too much.
Yeah, also Pham. Yeah, right there. I mean, Pham going to St. Louis. I like Pham.
He'll probably platoon still, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but I think as the season goes on, he's going to play more and more as Tommy Pham does. You know, that was kind of the same thing that the Diamondbacks would use. They're kind of doing it with Jock as well. They'll only primarily have him against right-handed hitters. But I don't know. I think, you know, this is another great destination for Pham to be playing in St. Louis. We had a couple other smaller trades. I mentioned Frankie Montas was traded to the Brewers. And it was like Joey Weimer, and it was pretty much nothing. And the Dodgers reacquired Ahmed Rosario. And this was second or third player now that has returned to a team. You had Rosario going back. No, you had Tommy Pham, you had Jorge Soler, and you have Ahmed Rosario. So everybody is just going back. They're just up late at night, just being like, hey, you up? I miss you. And they're just bringing back the same dudes that they know.
It's the Wolverine meme, just looking at the picture going, let's get back together, basically.
Kind of. Yeah, that's exactly right. A lot of trade rumors that are out there for today. We'll break it down tomorrow. Piece of P will be back and we'll have the finality of all of those. Is there one big one you think that's going to happen? Because here's what we know. The Tarek Skubal stuff has calmed down a lot. Luis Robert looks very unlikely to be moved. The chatter of Vlad being traded has gone to a whisper. There's nothing in that. Yes. Garrett Crochet has turned. Yesterday, it was very unlikely. Today, it seems like there are some movement and there are some rumors going around that maybe Baltimore is going to pull the trigger. There's a Garrett Crochet one that's out there. Maybe I'm not even mentioning. And Blake Snell, that was another one. I think that seems very likely. What do you think the big trade for the rest of today might look like, and who is it?
I'm really looking forward to the Jack Flaherty trade, either to the Yankees or the Dodgers. Like, that's happening. That's going to bolster. That's a move you send Loperfido for if you're the Astros. Like, that's the move. So Flaherty going to the Bronx or to the Dodgers for the World Series push. That's the big one, because if we saw what Kikuchi just got, Flaherty should get a lot in return. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? I mean, even just any of these guys, like what?
Because Flaherty's gone. Like, I'd be shocked if he's still there after this.
Well, they pulled him yesterday. I could have, I mean, you know, hindsight, like what would have happened, but I bet the under on runs, LOL on how that worked out. But I bet the under on runs for the first 5, thinking Flaherty was there 20 minutes later. he's pulled from his start because they're talking about the trade. I think Flaherty is a done deal to get moved.
Yep,
and
100%.
It looks like the Yankees are the ones that are going to pull that trigger. I just don't know if that's the big one. I think Garrett Crochet does get moved. I think they do pull that, and I think it's Baltimore, and I think Baltimore ends up moving one of the big guys. That's going to be the thing that turns at the very end. It's going to be one of Holiday or Mayo, or it's going to be some wild 5 or 6 player trade. I'm going to say that Garrett Crochet and all the huffing and puffing and all that's going on, that he's going to get moved to Baltimore to create this wild top 3 of pitchers. They've gotten depth now, and they're going to move off, and it's going to be a big old trade.
What I see happening, I see Flaherty going to the Yankees, Crochet going to the Dodgers.
Okay.
Because Crochet said he won't pitch in the postseason without an extension. I don't know if the O's extend him. Like, there's a lot to that.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. And there's a little less. I always laugh when this is a me thing, but whenever Dodgers and White Sox players get traded, I think about how spring training, it's the same facility, and they're all the familiarity between the organizations. So like, there's a line of communication that's bigger than others. But at the same time, like, I think Baltimore is going to be in the spot where they're going to have, like, this offseason, it's going to be extend time. Like, they're going to start extending. Yeah. You're going to be looking at some of your position players. I mean, I think Burns is a free agent, right? Because he just has that 1-year deal. They might try to, lock that down with Corbin Burns. But also, like, just pointing this out, and then we'll move on. If you have Corbin Burns that could become a free agent, it would really behoove you to go and trade for a starting pitcher that couldn't be an ace that you have control over. So it's kind of like it's a next level chess piece move for a team that is A, going for it, but B, should protect themselves for the future if for some reason they can't afford Corbin Burns, because Corbin Burns might win the Cy Young and is probably going to want $400 million or whatever the hell everybody wants now.
Lots of money.
Why doesn't everybody want to play baseball, by the way? The money that gets thrown around, and the work that, or the, I don't know, what is it? The weight of injuries on your body, the impact that it doesn't take on your body in baseball compared to others. Why does everybody not want to play baseball?
Well, I say the same thing about golf. I wouldn't choose to play golf.
Yeah, I guess. Well, golf is hard. It's really hard. I guess baseball is hard.
Throwing 100's hard too. The last time I checked, or ask Corbin Carroll, hitting 215 ain't gonna cut it. So it's tough. It's a tough game.
Touche. All right. Some other news and notes going around. Aaron Judge, 2 for 5, 2 homers, 3 RBI on Monday as the Yankees beat the Phillies 14-4. Jazz, 2 for 4, 2 homers. Ridiculous. Also made a really great stop at third base. Didn't end up being like a play, but already showing off some of those skills. And really what we should all hope for is that he's going to go and he's going to be able to get enough eligibility for us for next year. I really want outfield, third base, and second base. Somehow give me that, or at least give me 2 positions. But the third base stuff, I think you're going to get third base qualifications for Jazz. And I'm really excited about Jazz. I said this was an offensive plus, him going to the Yankees, and, outside of the injury nonsense that kind of follows, looks great. It looks like a complete fit in, and he's going to have a lot of RBI opportunities.
He looks like a full fit in. He's loving it. Just listening to his comments about like playing with Aaron Judge all of a sudden, like he's having fun. Yeah. It's the Jazz is letting his full mentality out, which is great. I guess is the perfect storm, and he's going to flourish in New York. Also, just the aura of New York.
Want to ask you? There's some bets out there that you can look at that have Aaron Judge for the top dog, but you can bet the field against Aaron Judge, and it was like there's like plus like 800 or 1400, and Bobby Witt's the one sitting out there. Is there any world where you would consider betting the field against Aaron Judge for MVP?
I think the odds at plus 800 or whatever is pretty good. So you should just, because it's baseball and Judge could get hurt tomorrow, so take your chance. If he doesn't get hurt, he's going to win it. But what Bobby Witt's doing is unconscious. That walk-off granny on Monday, dude's hitting over 500 since the break. He has more extra base hits than swings and misses since the All-Star break. Like, Bobby Witt is nuts, and we will talk about him later in the show. But, I just for how good he is and Judge's injury history, I think laying plus 800 is not the worst bet you can make.
It's not. You can go do it over with our friends at Bet365. Use the promo code leading off. Bet $5. Get $150 in bonus bets only over at Bet365, the exclusive sponsor of Leading Off in Fantasy Pros. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF. 1-800-GAMBLER. Do the thing. Terms and conditions apply. Promo code leading off. my friends. Go and make those bets. You can get in on it. Like you said, Bobby Witt, 4 for 5 go-ahead grand slam and cashing Joe. I think Joe had him on the home run board and cashed him on the RBI bet. So Bobby Witt did him right. And Jose Ramirez, 3 for 4 with a pair of solo shots. Did you also see the video of Brian Rocchio tapping his hat and Ramirez getting pissed? Everybody seems very mad at Brian Rocchio. I don't know if he's well liked, which is funny because him and George Valera, back when they were in like rookie ball, those guys were like best friends. I would talk to George a lot and George would talk about like his friendship with Brian Rocchio, but Rocchio seems to be a little too kiddish and Ramirez was having absolutely zero of his nonsense.
Yeah, J-Ram went full Adrian Beltre on that one, so Rocchio better watch out. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, he's not.
We've seen the right hand from J-Ram, so just watch out.
Some for funds. I guess this is fun. Joe put this in here, I think, for fun because I was anti Logan Gilbert in the year. Logan Gilbert was obliterated. Remember my bet yesterday where I'm like, hey, we're going to play the under in total runs. First 2.5 innings, it was looking really great. And then Logan Gilbert gives up 7 earned runs in the third. 2 2/3 he made. And that almost single-handedly destroyed the bet. And then it just, poof, it went away. He got absolutely obliterated, everything across the plate. And Jameson Taillon shelled for 6 runs over 4 1/3 in Monday's loss against the Reds. And, there were some trade rumors with him a little bit earlier on. In the rookie lookie, Jackson Chourio, 2-run homer as the Brewers beat the Braves. The 20-year-old has now gone 12 homers deep in this rookie season. And he's got a 262, 307, 424 slash line. If Paul Skeens didn't exist, would Jackson Chourio, this is a what if, Marvel's what if, would Jackson Chourio be able to stave off Jackson Merrill for NL Rookie of the Year?
If Chourio keeps this up, yes. Like this would be Chourio's, like since the All-Star break, I believe he's hitting over 400 with 4 homers. Like he looks great. He's getting better and better. Shocker, young players need time. This is what happens. So I'm with you. If Paul Skeens didn't exist, yes, I think there's some Cy Young people hoping Paul Skeens didn't exist too, not just Rookie of the Year. So yeah, it's pretty wild what Skeens even on Monday did in Houston.
I haven't looked in what the NL Cy Young Award looks like. Like Paul Skeens, last I looked, was minus 6,000 for NL Rookie of the Year. So I think that tells us where things have locked up. But I don't know where the Cy Young is. Is he leading?
I think he was leading like around plus 300 last time I saw, and Sale was right behind him, or vice versa. They were really close to each other. So I'm pretty sure it was Skeens' world at this point.
I mean, I don't know. I think Sale should walk away with that. By the way, Craig Mish is reporting that it looks like the Marlins are closing in on a Trevor Rogers. Oh, yeah, I see Angelo even put it right here, that they're closing in on something. I think he might have even mentioned maybe that the Cubs were a team that were even like looking at reacquiring, the Chinese.
We are selling Cubs. Yes,
maybe. Yeah, exactly. But so we might have a Trevor Rogers deal coming down pretty soon. And finally, in the rookie look, we mentioned it. Astros are calling up Pedro Leon to make his major league debut. He will be the new Joey Luperfido, who plays 2 games a week and sits on the bench in majority. And everybody goes, will we ever get to see him? A lot of power. There's some speed in there. I think there's a lot of swing and miss. Don't be surprised that I could see him being a guy that pulls off something similar to Rhys Hines, where he can just kind of roll, like he has like a week where he's just striking the ball really hard. But once he gets attacked with a lot of secondary stuff, I think that's going to be the key on like who he's going to be. But there is power, speed, combo potentials in him. I just don't believe that he'll play enough because they didn't with Joey Luperfido either. And they might make more moves. Well, they might keep trading their best prospects to go get rental players. They might not be done. So, you never know. But Pedro Leon, are you picking up Pedro Leon? Do you care?
I said yesterday when the rumor got getting called up, I wanted to see how his playing time played out the rest of the week, and then because I don't do FAB till Sunday, so I'm gonna wait and see. Because as you mentioned with Luperfido, the Astros don't like to play these guys every day, and that's not worth my time.
I'm going to just put this in here too, because this is a constant. And I just want to reiterate, and it's not that I don't like seeing the questions. You guys can keep bringing it. But Lee goes, why do the Rays hate Junior Caminero? It's what I've been saying forever to finish out this rookie lookie, because I get, who is it? It's like Anthony asked me almost every single day that about Junior Caminero. So in here reported here in the Razor, as expected, calling up Austin Shenton. That's what it was. So this was like a mess up here. Austin Shenton from Mark Topkin. But my point, because he's been asking me and people ask me a lot, is like, in a sane world, when everyone's like, should I pick him up? You should pick him up. But in a sane world, he would have been up by now. All the moves they've made have cleared space. He was going to play some second base in the minors. He plays third base. Guess what? They traded a second baseman or utility guy in Isaac Paredes. But it's the Rays, and they care about control, and they don't pay players. So they're going to screw things up, and they're going to mess with us. Don't be surprised if he doesn't come up until like September 15th, so they control him next year. So I'll say you should pick up Junior Caminero all day long, but I don't know. Nobody knows what the Rays are going to do. There's literally no concept of what they are doing here. I think it would be bad news for the player. I think it hurts player relations if you were to hold him and try to keep prospect eligibility till next season. But I get why they would do it, because it's the Rays. So we don't know. Hopefully in a couple days, we're going to have some great news to tell you that Junior Caminero came up, but why have they not done it yet? What was the reason that they have not done it yet? That's what makes no sense to me, Bubba.
I'm with you, and I've been saying all along, like every time he comes back from the IL and he gets 4 home runs, it feels like in 2 days, I say, can someone tell me when they get that extra year of eligibility like we saw with Max Meyer? Like that feels like, because no one really mentioned the Max Meyer thing, and all of a sudden the report came out that one day and boom, Max Myers is back. So it feels like that's what we're waiting for because it's the Rays, but I don't know what that day is.
We're already past the, like, you get the extra control. So like Anthony is asking these questions.
Well, then there's no reason. There's no reason.
No, there is one reason. There is one reason. No. And this is what I've been saying. If he is still prospect eligible on day one of next season, then the Rays are eligible if he wins Rookie of the Year for first round pick compensation that following season after that. But if he exhausts his Corbin
Carroll treatment, Corbin Carroll treatment, basically.
But I don't know if that's what they're doing. I don't see any. There's no other benefit. If like, let's say they're going to call him up next week, then there's no point to what they're doing. Yeah. The only thing would be you hold him until, I don't know what the day is, by the way. I have to look at his at-bats. You'd have to look at his at-bats versus when he would lose that eligibility, and that will tell you the day, or however they would hold it back. If it's not that, I have no idea. They're just making excuses or whatever the hell they're doing. But it's annoying. I mean, this is also why 3 months ago I said you could drop Junior Caminero in redraft, and someone on this chat was like, "Oh, that's stupid." And it's like, okay, well, you're still holding him, and he hasn't played a single game in the majors because this is what the Rays are doing. 3 up and 3 down. Nick Pivetta recorded 10 strikeouts, allowed 3 runs over 6 2/3 on Monday as they beat the Mariners. My logic was right of Pivetta bouncing back. Little did I know Logan Gilbert would get obliterated. Vladimir Guerrero had a homer, 3 doubles, and an intentional walk, as he has just been phenomenal in the second half. And Luis Robert, 3 for 4 with an RBI, run scored, and a stolen base as they lost to the Royals. He is still counting up some stats on the 3 down. Jordan Montgomery stinks. I had text Bogman. I said, one of the worst financial decisions I've seen in a long time is the Diamondbacks giving the money they did to Jordan Montgomery. I'm not sure where money has been spent worse, but he is awful. 6 runs over 4 innings against the Reds. He doesn't strike anybody out, and then all he does is give up 9 runs every single game, so he sucks. Simeon Woods-Richardson charged for 6 runs over 3 3/3, and Cade Povich lost to the Blue Jays on a doubleheader, giving up 6 runs, 3 earned in 4 1/3 on Monday. Injury news also on the Diamondback front. Christian Walker undergoing an MRI today after leaving Monday's game with left oblique tightness. You know what would have been cool, Bubba? If the Diamondbacks, if they lost Christian Walker, if they just had some like really awesome, like corner infield, big power bat in the minor leagues that they could bring up if they lost Walker. They did, and they traded him.
I don't know where he went. When is he getting called up? Josh Bell's gone. When's he getting called up?
Probably shortly. By the way, David De Santos is a horrific defender, so it wouldn't have made sense. Christian Walker's a Gold Glove first baseman, so they wouldn't have wanted that anyway. 100%. So I'm just being snarky. But yeah, to your point, the Marlins, same thing. Like, all right, you got rid of Josh Bell. You're getting rid of all these guys. When does it happen? I don't know. I assume it's sometime in the first week in August, but God knows. Liam Hendricks, on his way back from Tommy John surgery, is slated for an elbow examination. That could clear a rehab assignment. That's fun. Cubs activated Cody Bellinger, probably right on the precipice of trading him, because there's, at this point, probably no reason to keep him around because he's a free agent, I believe, after this season. And this team is probably not in a position where they want to give him a lot of money. So I'm not sure if there's a destination that fits super well. It seemed like it was the Yankees at one point. That seems maybe a little bit unlikely at this point. But I would expect Cody Bellinger is going to be on the move today. What say you?
Yeah, I agree, because he got activated but did not even play in the game. So that was a fun little moment there. And there's a team in LA that could use some help with Muncy pretty much done for the season. So
Reunions.
That would be an interesting reunion there.
Isn't that special? We'll see
Mm-hmm.
if that happens. Eduardo Rodriguez, another Diamondback thing, scheduled to throw 4 innings in a simulated game on Wednesday. Maybe he plays someday this year. And the Braves dodged a bullet because Reynaldo Lopez, actually, Joe put on the injured list. Did he go on the injured list? I thought he avoided. Yeah, he avoided. Joe had this wrong.
As of now, he's avoiding the injured list. Yes.
Yeah, because the MRI showed no structural damage. So that's actually like a big one. So Wonky, is this true what you're posting, or are you getting trolled? I don't believe anybody when you post anything anymore, because I feel like I'm getting trolled on stuff. Before we move on, is that a big trade, or did you just completely halt the show for your own selfish nature?
Yeah, I got no updates on the old Twitter bot there. So
all right, yeah, I don't see it either. So we'll see if Wonky just wanted to halt the whole show, or if that was real. All right, Braves. That leads us, of course, my friends, to the segment that everybody wants, because we want to make some money. Joe's not here, but guess what? Bubba made money last week. Rico's been making money. They've been making some money. So let's do it. It's the best bets of the day for Tuesday with Welsh and the Bubba. Yes, Bubba, we got it. Our 3 best bets of the day. You got some player props. So what are you doing today? Brought to you by Bet365.
We're looking at Corbin Burns. He's been getting 5 to 6 Ks every game, but I love the matchup going on Tuesdays. Corbin Burns over 5.5 Ks at plus 110. I'll take the plus money on that one. Victor Robles, the Mariners have a great matchup with the one and only James Paxton on Tuesday. So I mean, Victor Robles leading off over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at plus 135. He might do that in the first inning. And then Rhys Hoskins is actually swinging a very hot stick of late. Over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at plus 115 as the Brew Crew faces Bryce Elder, who obviously gives up a bunch. So I like the plus money on all 3 of those.
I like those. Let me relook at what was the Victor Robles one. I think is pretty sneaky. I'm a little timid about Corbin Burns and big strikeout numbers, especially.
As I said, it's 5 to 6 in every start, so it's dicey. But I love the matchup in that one.
Yeah, and like the matchup itself is the thing that holds me off from wanting to do it. But I haven't bet Corbin Burns in like a couple months, and I want to, but every time they have it like really, really difficult. All right. And by the way, Wonky trade, I thought you had said Jordan Walker when you put in there, but everyone was being sarcastic about it. It looked like it was. So I was like, whoa, is this real? But no, that's why I shouldn't look at the chat during trade deadline day. All right. My best bets of the day. We went 2 for 1 yesterday. Boy, we were saved by Bobby Witt, who pulled that Kansas City side. I will say I got locked into it. No chance I was betting that under yesterday on the Detroit game once Jack Flaherty got pulled, but I had already put my money in. So I was pot committed, unfortunately, but I did go 2 for 1. Today, we are jumping back into some first fives. I've got the Chicago Cubs first 5 money line minus 125 with Justin Steele. This is all about backing Justin Steele minus 125 on the Chicago side. I'm also going to back Max Scherzer with the Texas Rangers first 5 money line. So this is me back in the starting pitchers. I'm backing Max versus Lynn, and I'm backing Justin Steele. Those specifically are those bad boys. And taking a Nerfy today, and it's going to make you feel uncomfortable because we're going to a Bubba-centric Nerfy. Yes, this is a Bay Area version of Oakland and San Francisco. JP Sears on the mound today, and I just completely forgot. Oh, and Robbie Ray. So you got Robbie Ray and JP Sears here, both in like the bottom 10 of I think first run scoring overall. JP Sears has actually been someone I've targeted a few times. Robbie Ray as well. The matchup works. It's minus 130. There are some other good, fun starting pitchers. Like if you want to look for, Nola and Cole is fun, but those power offense is what I'm trying to avoid. So San Francisco's neutered a little bit more with Soler out. Oakland's offense has actually been a decent powerhouse, but the best pitcher in Robbie Ray is going up against them. So I actually really like this Nerfy. So I'm going Oakland, San Francisco, no run first inning, Texas first 5 money line, and Chicago first 5 money line. Bubba, would you dare join me in the Bay Area Nerfy?
No, I will not, because I like Giants are actually good versus lefties. Obviously, Soler's not there, and the A's offense is very good. But I get it. I get your logic behind this, but I will just sit back and watch that one.
tackling some no-run first inning early on for San Francisco on both sides. You guys can check out all the bets if you sign up for the Betting Pros app. You can go bettingpros.com/Welsh if you want to see mine, Joe as well, and many, many others. Go and check it out today. But those are our best bets of the day, brought to you by Bet365. Bubba, home run calls for today. I think last time you were here, you got a home run call. You were kind of like on hitting all cylinders, I believe. I know you had a really good betting day that day, but I feel like at least I'm giving you the credit that you did. Where are you going for your home run call?
Well, I'm going to take the cheap way out on this one with Jonathan Cannon pitching for the Chicago White Sox. Give me Bobby Witt Jr. to say nuclear hot for the Kansas City Royals. I'll just ride that one till the wheels fell off, it feels like right now.
Yeah, I'm going to jump over and attack David Festa. I'm going to go with a Met. Joe's actually also going with a Met, Francisco Lindor, but I'm going to go with Pete Alonso. Okay. So I always flip away from Joe when we bet Mets. So Pete Alonso, David Festa has been a home run fest, and I'm going to get a little bit of Pete Alonso action in there. I do want to point out, everybody has brought this up, and just as a quick aside, it is Jeffrey Springs Day. Jeffrey Springs is back. We're going to get him in. He's going up against Edward Cabrera. It's a really solid matchup. One of the funniest and dumbest K props I've seen early on. It was like 4.5 minus 210. The hell is betting that? Who's going to bet that type of juiced up strikeout number? So the investment in it doesn't make any sense across the board, but it's a must start. It's a must start against the Marlins right now. They have a lot of swing and miss in their game. The Rays offense is obviously a bit neutered, and I will point out the scary part. Yandy Diaz has been in a lot of rumors. They could pull him right before the game. So, backing him full on, especially from a betting perspective, I don't love. But from a spot start perspective, I will start Jeffrey Springs today in fantasy. I'm not interested in any of the betting market because of just how volatile and whatever the hell the Rays do and anything like that, Bubba.
Yep, totally agree. It's a wild one. And then that's with a lot of the bets today. I just be cautious because there's a lot of moving pieces in the next 4 or 5 hours here. So let's be very cautious on that.
I got slapped yesterday. Let me be an example. Literally, I'm like, oh, the Tigers. And Joe had a smart thing. He's like, you should maybe bet on the other side with the Guardians if Flaherty were to get pulled. Flaherty gets pulled. Guardians come out the gates, drop 4 in the first 2 innings. It's exactly what happened. So, try to be locked in with that. Pay attention to those trades. And I'll probably move away from Jeffrey Springs, though I do love him rest of season. We love Bubba as well. You can find him on the Twitters at BD Intric, ENTREK. You can follow me at Is It The Welsh. Mr. Joe Pisapia is back tomorrow, where we're going to be breaking down whatever happened at the trade deadline. We gave you all the trades between Monday and Tuesday. Everything to the finish on the trade deadline we'll be breaking. So make sure you're here locked in with Joe Pisapia and myself. Until then, friends, have a fantastic trade deadline day. We'll talk to you again right here tomorrow on Leading Off. Bye, friends.